say you can't make anything in America. The glory days of the craftsman. Gone. Offshoring the skilled hand. Substituting computer power for imagination. Pride overcome by the pursuit of profit. But in the heartland, the fires of ingenuity and craftsmanship still burn. Yoder smokers, forged from iron, sweat, and handcrafted with pride. In America.
Welcome to Curling Stadium's continuing coverage of this event in Martensville. My name is Jason Jang. Thanks for joining us tonight, and with me for the call, Matt Sussman. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Jason. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, great to see you once again. Well, we've got an interesting matchup today. The Korean team skipped by Seungyoun against Chelsea Carey. What do you think about this matchup, Matt?
Well, I think both of these teams, they've been kind of inconsistent, both at 1 and 2. I'm very interested to see Team Ha. I understand they're the reigning Korean national champions, having won it over this summer. And then obviously Chelsea Carey, well known in the curling world, with a sort of new look team. So I honestly don't know what to expect, and that's kind of my favorite mentality going into a game like this.
Well, it is a very important game, Matt, because as you mentioned, both teams right now are at 1 and 2. That means, yes, they are still in the hunt for a playoff spot in this 12-team field. Top 6 move on to the playoff round, but you can't drop a third match or else you're going to be eliminated.
Yeah, that's right. So, with this being pool play, it just happens to be that they're both at 1 and 2. But this definitely does feel like if this was a triple knockout team, this is sort of one of those games that is essentially going to eliminate one of these two teams from playoff contention.
Just set things up here, Team Carey. Their third is Jolene Campbell, Liz Fife at second, Rachel Erickson throwing the lead stones, and this team from Korea, as you mentioned, the Korean champions from Chuncheon. Their lead is Sujin Kim. Tai Yang throws the second stones, Kirin Kim throwing the third stones, and it is Seungyoun throwing that last stone. We have seen a number of Korean teams develop over the last few years, over the last couple of cycles, in fact. Eunji Kim, of course, also in the field. They're at 3-0, leading the standings here in Martensville. They've been at the slams and on the international circuit. Of course, the Olympic silver medalist as well. The other team, Kim, the Garlic Girls, one of the other great teams from Korea. And Team Chelsea Carey, of course, Chelsea herself, a couple of Scotties championships. Now teaming up with Jolene Campbell, Liz Fife, and Rachel Erickson. Well, we've got a center guard or off center guard in play. Team Rock right behind. Team Carey needs to hit and roll over. Team Ha trying to hit and roll back behind that guard.
Yeah, right away in the first end, already some rocks in play. We ought to see a score here, most likely. But yeah, nice to see it right away.
As mentioned, 12 teams in this women's field. 6 will go on to the playoff round. The playoffs will be on Monday, quarterfinal, semifinal, and championship final. We'll have it all here on Curling Stadium. Every single sheet. Just look for those YouTube links on curlingzone.com, or you just search for Curling Zone on YouTube. If you're joining us on the CBC Sports stream, welcome. Thanks for joining us. But Eunji Kim, she leads the standings along with Clancy Grandy, 3-0, in a great spot to make the playoffs. Nancy Martin, the local team from Saskatchewan, 3-1. Jennifer Jones, she lost a tough one in our last draw. That was our feature game against Daniela Yen. She was up by 5 after the first end, was up by 4 after 5 ends, but gave it all away. Team Yen stealing the victory in 8 for a 9-8 win. So Jennifer Jones, 2-1. Silvana Tironzoni also in this field. They're at 2-1. Daniela Yench, 2-2, still in the playoff hunt. Two winless teams as well. Lorraine Schneider, 0-2. Brett Barber, Ashley Howard at 0-3, probably out of it. But they do have a couple of games left as well. We do have 3 other games on the ice here in Martensville at the same time. Brett Barber playing Kirsty Watling. Ashley Howard playing Lorraine Schneider, so one of them is going to get their first win. And Dallin Myers playing the team from Japan, skipped by Yanagisawa. We'll keep everyone up to date on some of those scores as the night continues. Well, Team Ha makes the nose hit. Chelsea Carey trying to play this hidden role. Hidden role been a little bit elusive so far.
Yeah, that's a tough one to make. Also, Team Ha missing an open takeout, which allowed Team Carey to split the house, and it has given them the chance to put on the force and keep these Roxas separated as much as possible, and they're doing a very good job of that so far.
Gets a little bit of a roll. Still fully exposed, so Team Ha, they can get it around, and B-Shot Stone could negate that other Carey counter that's on the side of the 12, the 10 o'clock position, as you see it on the overhead. Looks like the team maybe noticing a bit of a scratch mark down the ice, coming down and cleaning up a little bit. It's interesting that in Korea they do play the national championships quite early in the season, pretty much in the summer, right? And it's not unusual. Some other countries in Asia, they do that, and even in Europe, and that's because the Pacific Asia Championships, the former Pacific Asia Championships happen in November. The European Championships usually happen in late November as well, so a lot of those countries determine their nationals quite early in the season, very different in Canada and the United States. Now the Pacific Asia region has merged with the America zone, at least from the championship perspective. The inaugural Pan-Continental Curling Championships will take place starting at the end of October through the first week of November. And so as the national champions, Seungyoun Ha would be expected to be at those PCCCs. Now modeling that, this new championship now modeled after the European Championships, where there's the A division and then a B division. In the case of the PCCC in Europe, there's also a C division. So the different nations will move up and down the rankings. And of course, you want to be in the A division because that's what qualifies you if you finish in the near the top of the field into the World Championships. In Canada and US now will be part of this regional competition.
And I'm really excited to watch that, just so you know. I think that is a tremendous idea. I actually had that idea several years ago, but I didn't tell anyone, nor did they ask me. But regardless, I'm really happy that every country now essentially has to play into the Worlds, because previously Canada would just automatically get a berth, and they are expected to advance out of it anyways. But now they have to play in. They have to play in just like everybody else. And then all the other countries, both in the Pacific Asia region and the Americas region, now have additional opponents of similar abilities that will give them a chance to compete. So there's lots of reasons to have this event similar to the European Championships, like you said, and I am really, really excited to watch it this November.
We'll talk a little bit more about those championships as this draw goes on, to explain some of the nuances of it, because it is the first year of the PCCC. I'm sure the viewers are interested to know a little bit more. But let's take a look at the game that we've got in front of us. We are heading into those skipped stones now. You can see Chelsea Carey. She does have 3 stones in the rings. That's counting first, second, and third shot. So Team Korea now, they really need to be careful how they negotiate this position. There is a rock, the Carey rock behind the tee line. That's what Team Korea is trying to freeze to. And if they do that, they'll be behind cover. They'll be in a pretty good position to maybe steal, but at the very least, limit the damage. This rock, however, hanging out a little bit. They're trying to sweep it for curl, but I don't think it's going to curl up enough to get to the nose. They will get a corner frozen. Mostly open. Not sure if you can move this blue one out if you just hit it. Maybe buried enough such that you have to play a fairly quiet shot and just tap things around.
Yeah, that might be good enough. That's one of those shots that you look at it if you're Team High, you look at it and you say, you know, it's there, it's kind of what we meant to do, but you're not going to feel that comfortable until the end's over. It's right on that cusp of being dangerous.
Yeah, you never like having opponent stones in the rings when you don't have last stone advantage and you only got one that is counting for you right now. They do have a second rock in the top of the 12, but that's 5th shot right now, so you can't rely on that one to limit the damage.
Yeah, so I'd assume Chelsea here is just going to try to get as much of that blue as you can, probably separate it with the other frozen stone and sort of set up your hammer.
Yeah, you get to the nose, you can move it a little bit, stay in front of the blue stone. If you're a little bit tighter than that, you can probably get across the face a hair, get to the inside a little bit. This is a finesse shot for sure, so you need to have good line, but also the right weight to get the correct curl and finish. This rock's coming in quite nicely. Squeezes up right against that blue stone, and it is shot stone. They have moved it back just a hair. Might Chelsea Carey even be first and second shot right now? It's close.
That's close, but I think more important is the angle. Now, if you can make any contact with that red that she just threw, the blue is going away. So right now for Team Ha, I think they need to maybe not worry so much about that, but they definitely have to put the second rock in a good place, probably on the other side somewhere, and that's where they're looking.
I think they're looking at the counterclockwise draw, the outturn for a right-hander. Try to get to the top of the button and you could be shot stone, and if you can get there, it'd be actually quite difficult for Chelsea Carey to score. You can see it, the nice look on the overhead indeed. Red is sitting first and second right now, so a wonderful shot by Chelsea on her first.
Yeah, even conceding 2 points at this point, probably not the end of the world. You definitely don't want to give up more than that.
Although, and I just caught the end of the game, Jason, that you did before this with Team Yench and Team Jones. You could give up 5 in the first end and the game's still not over.
For sure, that was a wild one. We thought it would maybe end early. Team Yench capitalized on the mistakes from Team Jones and eventually caught up and passed them at the finish line. Well, Seungyoun Ha, her final stone in the first end, they don't have last stone advantage here, so Team Carey already sitting 2. This is an important draw. They can make this really good, have a chance to steal, actually get this into the top of the button. They do need to bury it. Now the outside sweeper trying to direct it in. It is finishing. I'm not sure if it's going to get quite far enough for shot stone. They dragged it pretty close, but I think Team Carey still sitting 1.
That's a really good try.
I think the Korean stone from Team Ha is second shot, however, now. I'm not sure. It's actually really close. Who's shot in second? I'm trying to look at what Chelsea is doing to see whether we can get an indication.
If they're throwing a draw, I think yeah. I'm assuming they're drawing for a second.
I would tend to agree with you, because if they weren't sitting 1 right now, the easiest shot might be to actually play the same shot Chelsea just did and just nudge that red in a little bit. She just can nudge it right into the blue one again, and it'll pop a little bit closer to the button. Final stone, Team Carey. We think she's drawing for possibly 2, but it's not completely obvious from the overhead camera. Sweeper's on it right away. It doesn't look like it has the weight, though. Did I see just the broom tap on the blue stone there? If it was, then it is a steal of 1. We'll wait for the official score to go up. It is 1 either way after the first end.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome back to Curling Stadium, Martensville. If you're just joining us, my name is Jason Chang. With me is Matt Sussman. We're bringing you the action from the Ice Shooter device. Team Ha, they threw the first rock in this end. That means they did steal 1. So it was a brilliant final stone draw from Team Ha, and some good sweeping to get it all the way there. Just enough to outcount the Carey stone. Carey tried to draw, came up well short. And now an early mistake from Rachel Erickson, the Team Carey lead, flashing that open hit.
Yeah, we didn't give Seungyoun Ha nearly enough credit when we saw that stone. It was hard for us to see that, but that actually turned out to be a brilliant shot and a very good way to set the tone for the team as they, a young team trying to establish themselves, playing some really good competition, and see if they can just build on that now in the second end.
Yeah, now knowing that the Team Ha rock was shot stone, I am surprised that Chelsea didn't just play the same shot as she did on the first rock, which is come down that intern side for her and tap up her own redstone. If she just moved it into the other blue stone like she did on her first rock, she would have just bounced a little bit to the button area and would have scored for one. So might have been a better choice to just repeat what you just did. In any case, they're only down by one very early in the game. Nice guard from Seungyoun Kim of Korea. Chelsea Carey now asking for a freeze. As mentioned, both teams at 1 and 2. So they're playing each other right now. Team Ha, they're going to end with Brett Barber. In the last draw, Brett Barber 0-2 right now. Chelsea Carey, they play the other Korean team, Eunji Kim, in the last draw. Ranked number 8 in the world, according to the world team rankings. This team, Seungyoun Ha, ranked number 40. Don't have quite as much international experience as some of the other Korean ladies teams. Chelsea Carey herself, with this team ranked number 9. Star-studded field, really. You've got Jennifer Jones, Daniela Yench. We saw them in the last featured draw. Silvana Tirinzoni here as well. They're the highest-ranked team, of course, with a new front end. Staying with, of course, Alina Patz, the 4th rocks thrower, but now having Carol Howard at second and Briar Perlman at lead. You recognize the Perlman name. I believe Briar is the daughter of Patrick Perlman, Olympic gold medalist from Switzerland. Well, Team Carey tried to play the freeze. It didn't quite get up to that shot stone, so I think there's an opportunity to just follow it in. Maybe even tap that redstone back a little bit and roll the shooter behind the center dart again.
Yeah, I think so. And especially with the 1-point lead, I think they can afford to be a little more aggressive and go for a shot that they're comfortable with. And yeah, this end is looking pretty good for them again. It's hanging though.
Doesn't quite get to the nose. Does jiggle it a little bit. But I think this actually helps Team Carey, just the angles that they are on now. You can come off that blue and roll into the middle behind the corner. You've also moved that blue shot stone half open, so Chelsea can make a play on it later as well. So not the best result for Team Ha.
This one's also wide there. I think both teams are getting surprised by the amount of curl. They're waiting for it to curl late. There it goes now.
Yeah, the sweepers helped it over for sure, but it does hang for a little bit of time. Matt Hall, I was commentating with him earlier in the afternoon, described the ice as looking a little bit like slam ice in the sense that not quite as much curl as slam ice, but a lot of late finish, and that's what slam ice has been known to give the players. Players really love that late finish. You can play a lot of finesse shots, come quietly around guards to tap rocks, even remove rocks completely.
Chance for a double here?
I think so. On the nose, even you can get to the inside of nose, I think, and roll it a little bit behind the guard.
Yeah, even if you knock your own blue rock out the side door, if you can get those reds, that's a really good result.
Well, this rock, they lost it right away. Not sure if it was the thrower or it picked, but they were right over the guard. Not even close, in fact. And now that guard's moved over to the left-hand side on the screen, as you see, partially guarding the Carey stones.
Yeah, not
Chelsea
a lot of good
now
results
asking,
there.
yeah, Chelsea now asking for a draw, I think. Maybe freeze right in there, right on top of that blue stone. You could also play the hidden roll, play the hit on the blue, and actually roll it away. The other blue stone that's on the left-hand side of the screen from the thrower's perspective, that rock is mostly open. He can always move that later on as well. I think they've decided to freeze kind of into that pocket there.
Interesting call. I wouldn't have thought that one.
Looks like the speed is coming off of here and it's over curling. It is in the rings, acts more of like a guard than anything else. Still a good situation for Team Carey. I mean, their rocks are decently protected. The two blue stones are very vulnerable. I think there's a double there on the red stones. Like, you can see that top red stone, at least half of it.
Yeah, if you hit what you can see off that red stone, if there's any drag, you might be able to touch all three reds. I think that's what they're looking at.
I think so. I think you can definitely touch all the reds, and the question will be whether they will all spill out of the rings.
About 50 people in the arena all lining up this shot.
From that overhead shot, I think it is there. The question really is how much action you're going to get on these rocks after all the contact is made. Seungyoun have 22 years old, recently aged out of juniors actually. Now they're looking at playing the run back instead.
Another interesting call. I think if you do hit it right, though, you could get two reds out of there.
Yeah, and this way, if you hit it right, you leave the rock that you're running back in the rings. If you're just playing it the other shot, you will lose the shooter, but this one, they've lost the line on pretty early. The guard disappears. They're going to roll the other rock as far away as possible so they don't leave a corner for Chelsea Carey. Now Chelsea's going to play the hit and roll away. That was what I was suggesting, perhaps on her last shot. You can also play the same shot, play the same freeze into the pocket there.
I don't mind that call by Team Ha. The guard was not helping you, and now it's not there. So at this point, you need to start getting as many reds out of there as you can, and that certainly helps the situation.
Sweeper's working hard on this one as well, trying to drag it there. Doing a pretty good job of getting the puck all the way there. Rubs off the top red and actually rolls it into the spot they were intending to. Great sweeping.
That's really nice. That is, yeah, I think you're saying, that's the call they were trying to go for the first time. That looks a lot better now.
So you can see both those blue stones that are in the rings right now, very, very vulnerable to flying out of there. I think they have to make a play off of these reds at the top of the rings and try to get as many of those reds out as you can. I'm pretty sure you can get two of them out of there. You can leave your shooter in the top of the 8-foot. that would be great as well. Something you can use on your final stone to raise up if needed.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a decent result there. Team Carey still's got that stone corner frozen to the high rock, which is, I think, shot stone. The Team Ha leaving the shooter right in front, inaccessible. That was the really good result.
Yeah,
Still no opportunities to score multiples for Team Carey. They've got 3 rocks left, can still maneuver these stones.
Yeah, I think that was a really good double, just avoiding all of your stones altogether. It certainly helps them in a lot of ways.
And Matt, I did just notice, I think it is Jamie Sinclair in the lineup, the super spare for Team Chelsea Carey.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm sure all of our friends in the southern United States who have sort of adopted Jamie Sinclair as their own have a lot of emotions about her moving back to Canada.
She does have dual citizenship, grew up, I believe, in the Ottawa area, played a bit with Rachel Homan, I think, in juniors, then moved to the U.S. as part of the high performance program. Had quite a bit of success playing in the U.S. as well. I think she won a slam too, didn't she?
I think you're right. I think Jamie and Chelsea are very similar in their paths. They are also both skips who are also extremely close to making the Olympics. I'm very interested to see how she fits into the team dynamic here as the 5th. But it's good to see her on the ice.
Seungyoun Ha, the 2020 World Junior Silver medalist. Great shot there.
Oh, wow.
That angle wasn't easy to make the double, but she made it look very easy. Got both to go out of the rings, too.
Yeah, that was a great angle. I mean, she's... First end, she made a great draw to steal a point. Turns out she's also really good at takeouts. They're lane 3 all of a sudden.
There is a fairly easy double now for Chelsea Carey, but that will only leave her as 2nd and 3rd shot. However, Team Ha will then have to be very careful on their final stone to not leave a double back for Team Carey. So still an opportunity for Chelsea to put up a multiple point score.
You're right. In the end, the 4-foot is completely wide open. If they do need to draw for a single, that opportunity is there. But certainly it was looking a lot better a few rocks ago.
I think if you hit this right on the nose, there is definitely no double on the 2 red stones that will be in the house. And then even if Team Ha plays a hit, they'd have to roll a bit. But Carey gets across the face a little bit, makes the double pretty easily, but rolls over. It is interesting, though. It'll make this takeout a little bit tricky, I think, for Team Ha. They've got to make sure they avoid the jam, but then try not to leave the double back as well.
Yeah, you can't really... I mean, it's not a very simple shot to get both red stones out. You almost have to play sort of a cute little hit and roll. Get maybe a little piece undercover. You would be sitting 2 for 1, but that really is the only place you can leave your shooter.
Yeah, so that is what they've decided. They are going to hit and roll behind the guard a little bit. Might still be possible for Chelsea to play a raised double if it's behind the guard, but just in the wrong spot. So we'll see where the dust settles. Here it comes. Seungyoun with her final stone of the second end without a last rock. This rock is over curling. It's going to hit into her own stone. It does remove the red stone, but now a fairly routine hit and stick for 2 points for Chelsea Carey.
Yeah, that's a tough break. It looks like a little inside out of hand, and they're on it right away. That was a good opportunity for them. This could have been worse of an end for them, but it's looking like a nice open hit and stick for 2 points here.
They're really fortunate that didn't over curl even more and not get the redstone out. Then it would be a hit for 3, but as it stands now, it is an open hit for 2. Pretty routine, but you still got to settle in the hack and keep your focus. Final stone, second end, Chelsea Carey gave up the steal of 1 in the first, has an opportunity to respond with 2. Looks pretty good. They clean it all the way down. No problem for Team Carey. And they go into the lead, 2-1 after 2 runs of play.
Imagine a place with endless possibilities. Imagine a place where people come together to build families, businesses, and communities. Imagine a place where small-town values and progressive qualities are in perfect harmony. Imagine a place rich with so much vitality. Imagine your future in Martensville.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's gonna make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Third end just getting underway. Team Carey with a 2-1 lead. Ha from Korea. First time with the last stone. You can see Jamie Sinclair. We were talking about her, dual citizen. Now moving back to Canada, playing with Chelsea Carey. They're calling her a super spare, and I've seen some of the Twitter chatter. There were questions about whether Jamie could actually play in the provincial playdowns and in the Scotties. And that might be differences in rules in curling Canada, where you might not satisfy the residency rules or how long you've played for your province since moving back. And the World Curling Federation rules would allow you to play because you are a citizen, and as long as you haven't played in a World Curling Federation competition for 2 seasons, you would be eligible to play in a World Championship or an International League Sanctioned Championship.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I know there's, a lot of different rules in terms of residency and where you live, which is unique to Canada. I think really it's just nice to see her on another team. I know she's had lots of different teammates in the States, A lot of different team lineups, trying to find that perfect fit. And she did have success. Like we said, she won a Grand Slam as a skip, but she couldn't quite make the Olympics, which I think was the goal. And so having her go back to Canada, try to find a team, try to maybe reestablish herself as a elite player, whether it's a skip or some other position, I'm really interested to see how that goes for her. I think she can do quite well up there.
And it never hurts to be paired up with a multi-time Scotties champion in Chelsea Carey. Chelsea seems to find a way to win no matter what her lineup is. She tends to go to new teams and after one season can find a lot of success with that new team. So we'll see how this lineup shakes up during the course of the season. Of course, playing out of Manitoba, it's a very tough province, but now that the Scotties have the wild card spots as well, it gives those teams in slightly stronger provinces a little bit better chance to make it to the national championships. I think Team Hell is trying to freeze, or at least get closer to nose than that, but they bounce off, pushes the Carey stone towards the button, leaves the shooter wide open. Team Carey, they're going to try to take advantage here, play a hit and roll behind those stones.
Both teams still trying to figure out that late curl, I think. It just makes that weight all that more important because you have to be extremely patient. You got to trust the ice. It can be a hard thing to do.
That one over curled on them. They do get the shooter behind the guard, but they push the other rock completely open and behind the tee line. All right, Team Hunt doesn't like how this is setting up, so they're going to go up and peel the guard. Of course, it was the free guard zone, so this was the first opportunity for them to go up and get rid of this. Good throw. They roll it completely out. I thought they might try to roll it as a corner guard now that they have last stone advantage, but didn't seem to have any thought of doing that.
Yeah, now Chelsea's just going to replace it, try to put that one in a better spot.
And I think what they want to do is, right there, try to guard part of that blue stone as well, so Team Ha can't promote the blue into the red and be shot stone behind cover. This one over curling just a hair. Team Ha now might decide to chase the back stone. You can definitely remove it and roll to the side of the 8-foot. The other Carey stone that's in the rings is wide open, so you can take care of that later. Other option is to just peel the guard again, but pros and cons for both. You could also try to run it in. We're taking a look at that now. A lot of options if you run it in, because there is 2 red stones behind that blue one, so lots of ways to hit this and end up with something good if you can make contact with the blue behind the red.
Yeah, this is where a young skip can really start to look at all the options, start to overthink, maybe even start to second guess yourself, looking at everything, and, you know, go with your first gut. What was the first thing you wanted to do? If that's the call, just do it.
I think in the end they decided on a straight peel. Well, rinse and repeat now for Chelsea Carey. They're going to put the guard back up and try to get it in a slightly better spot. The last one over-curled a little bit on them. Jamie Sinclair, the first third stone of this third end. So with Jamie coming back to Canada, Matt, what is the U.S. women's team situation looking like? You've still got Tabitha Peterson with Nina Roth, I believe.
Yeah, so you've got Team Peterson. Nina Roth decided to retire for family reasons, so she stepped back, and they added Corey Christensen, who represented the U.S. at the Worlds last year and was also the runner-up at the Olympic trials at the vice skip position. So that's going to be a really interesting team. And yeah, I mean, they are essentially the A team. They're the team to beat. And then that left the other team to be skipped by Sarah Anderson, who was the vice for Christensen's team. Now she's going to be calling the shots. So that's your sort of secondary team, and you know, the way it stands, those are essentially the two primary elite teams that you'll see out of the States. But I've been very impressed with how Tabitha Peterson has been evolving into a world-class skip. She took the job over basically from Nina Roth when Nina Roth went on maternity leave. And so then they just sort of switched spots from between the 2018 and the 2022 Olympics. So yeah, that team is well poised to make another run for the next 4 years.
Well, Team Ha now facing a similar situation as you just did. The guard is in a little bit better position now for Team Carey. Very difficult now to run it in. If you run it in, you're probably leaving the center guard back up. That's why I'm a little surprised that on the last shot, Team Ha just didn't decide to do something different, actually try to run it in or make a play on shot stone, because that was actually the opportunity where Carey's guard wasn't in the perfect position.
Yeah, I think that could have been the chance to take a risk. In this case, I think they just realized they would have sort of an open opportunity on this side no matter what happens once they started tossing a few more rocks back and forth. But, in the end, right now what they have is a fairly routine shot and still a good chance to at least get the point. Curling on him, though.
It is over curling for sure. It's going to roll towards the center line behind everything. In fact, it actually rolls out open on the other side. I'm not even sure they were trying to go for the inside roll, actually, because if you rolled inside, they were probably sitting on the back of the button, and then Team Carey drew down and froze to it. It would have been a pretty tough spot for Team Ha. In any case, Team Ha does have 2 rocks in the ring, so Chelsea has to be a little bit careful here. That red rock right now is at least a third exposed, maybe even half exposed, so it can be picked out. Safe call would be to maybe just hit the back stone. You can set 1-2 that way. Another way to do it is to maybe play a corner freeze on that top blue stone. Okay, on the corner. You'll also protect the back red that is currently half open.
I think they're just electing to sort of play a bump freeze here.
Yeah, on the back stone, I think. That's probably the safer call. Probably easier to execute, a little bit more margin for error.
I think they're going for weight here.
They actually have ended up freezing onto their own stone. It's actually okay, I guess, but I'm not sure that's the best spot for it.
Yeah, I think okay is the right word. They're sitting two now, and there's no double, but yeah, it's certainly have to sort of recalibrate the way this under's going. And there's at least an opportunity to get one of them out now, a lot easier. So that's I think this is an opportunity for Team Ha for sure to try to turn this end around.
Yeah, you get that back stone out, and if you can hit enough of the top red one and stay in front of it, then the Carey stone is very vulnerable to be removed on the last stone, and Chelsea will have to play a good rock on her final stone to prevent a big end. So they're playing this a little bit quieter, just so that after the contact is made, this stone stays in front of the other red stone, just like that. Can they move it far enough to sit? Yes, so it will be shot stone still Chelsea Carey, but second, third, and fourth belong to Team Ha of Korea, and that red stone right now is very vulnerable.
That was really good weight thrown by that team as well. That was, like you said, keep your shooter right on top of that red stone. Now there's no easy way to get rid of a blue rock right now. And that's, with Team Ha having hammer, that is crucial. I really am impressed with that last shot.
So they were considering the tap on the blue, move the redstone back a little bit, I think get to the inside of this red rock, or the blue rock, so that the shooter rolls a little bit to the right as you see it from the shot right now. That would prevent any double and a big score. That could force Team Korea into a shot just for one.
We're seeing a lot of shots that require a lot of precision in this end. And those are always really fun to watch. They're really tough to throw, but it really, really makes you think, really puts a lot of pressure on both skips here. But I think you're right. Yeah, if they can just sort of change the angles, you can't worry about getting rid of anything. I think they can just try to save their shot rock here.
Skip stones now in the third end. Chelsea Carey up 2-1 over Team Ha. Trying to rearrange these rocks just a little bit. This rock's curling though. It is going to touch the blue, roll towards the middle. Okay.
Yeah, for the second time. For the second time in the end, we're asking, is that good?
Can you get to the inside? That's what they're looking at. Can you get to the inside to make the blue onto the back red and then have your shooter kick to the right and push that red stone that's now under cover out of the rings, or just move it open?
If we could get the rooms out of the way, we'd have a better look at it. No. I think it's possible. You can certainly take care of shot stone for sure, and then that would probably leave that blue at top of it being the counting stone.
I think it's there. I think they think it's there, and they've got their lead, I think, in the hack, letting them know how much of the rock they can see or how much air is past the stone that they're trying to hit, that blue stone that Device has got her room by right now. There's the indication. Inside of the blue, that's where you want to hit. Get a little flop to the inside. The back red one will go. You're probably not going to move the red stone completely out, but you could just stay corner frozen on that red stone as well.
Big opportunity.
Seungyoun with her first here in the third end. This one's going to crash in the guard, however. Leaves Chelsea Carey still sitting shot in second shot.
Oh, that fooled them for a second because they were calling to make it curl. They thought they had it, and then all of a sudden, they just went on them. That looked good out of hand.
Yeah, they weren't concerned at the beginning. And then the right, it just took a bit of a turn. Not sure what happened exactly, but Chelsea Carey now has an opportunity here to put more pressure on Team Ha. They've looked at drawing on the outturn side for her, the counterclockwise rotation around that off-center guard. Now they're looking at just guarding the situation. If you put a guard kind of along the forefoot in front of those two blue stones, half covering each of those blues, I don't think there's any double for Team Ha to get the two red ones out. Might just force Team Ha to make the wide draw themselves for a single point.
Yeah, you're right. I'm even having trouble seeing a double now, the way it's at. And, you know, obviously, the force is on, and you're sitting, it looks like you're sitting too. You don't want to make the situation worse, for sure. But I think, and based on, you know, the way Jamie's holding the broom, this might even be an opportunity to try to even get a better, maybe even tap the red a little bit.
Let's see where Jamie's got her broom. Looks like they're just playing guard based on how Jamie is watching the stone. And like you said, it didn't really look like there was an easy double as it was. Now there's no easy tap either.
Well, there's a hole there. And if you do throw something pretty fast down there, the question is then going to be, can you get to that red shot stone, depending on which angle you hit it? And I'm going to say, yeah, you can see all of the blue, but you need to hit like 3/4 of that blue on the left side for that to even be a possibility. So, yeah, the draw's the call.
Yeah, I think they've taken the wiser call for sure. It is a draw against two, though, so it's not without some pressure. We saw Seungyoun Ha play a beautiful end-saving draw in the first end, facing two carry stones. That ended up being the steal point. Actually, a fairly similar draw to that one, maybe a bit wider line, but it is down a similar path. Should know the speed here. Final stone. Seungyoun Ha from Korea trying to get to the full forefoot, score her single point and tie this game. Sweepers on it. Their third coming out as well. This rock is grinding to a halt, though. I'm not sure it's going to make it. It only gets to the top of the 8. It is 2 for Team Carey, and they're going to take a 4-1 lead through 3 ends of play.
There are those who say, you can't make anything in America. The glory days of the craftsman. Gone. Offshoring the skilled hand. Substituting computer power for imagination. Pride overcome by the pursuit of profit. But in the heartland, the fires of ingenuity and craftsmanship still burn. Yoder smokers, forged from iron, sweat, and handcrafted with pride. In America.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome back. We're in the 4th end of the Curling Stadium, Martensville. International event, Team Carey from Manitoba, Team Ha from Korea. Team Carey stealing 2 in the last end when the Team Ha Rock, that draw came up short, needed full 4, but only got to the top 8. Really well played tactical end from Team Carey, positioning their rocks really well. That generated the steal of 2. Down by 3 now, Matt. Team Ha's got to try to put up some corner guards and get some offense going.
That's right. And it was really close. They were on Seungyoun's house first rock. They were really close to possibly sitting 3 or potentially looking at maybe even 3 or 4 if that takeout was made good. And then just to throw a draw to get your point, just a little bit shy. But again, it's a 3-point game. It's not the end of the world. Time to turn around, try to score 2.
Quick update on some of the other games on the women's side of this Martensville Curling Stadium event. Christy Watling from Manitoba playing against Brett Barber of Saskatchewan. Team Watling taking 3 in the first, 2 in the third. They lead 5-1. They are 1-2 in the standings, so they'd love to get to 2-2, even up their record. Brett Barber currently 0-2, so really need to get a win on the board. Ashley Howard leading Lorraine Schneider 3-1. Both teams winless so far. Lorraine Schneider 0-2. Ashley Howard 0-3. And on the men's side, we have one game tonight. Dallin Myers playing against the team from Japan, skipped by Riku Yanagisawa. If you don't recognize that name, you'll probably recognize their third, Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi Yamasan. He's been in the Men of Curling calendar. And also very popular on Twitter, doing commentary of Japanese games with his rubber chicken microphone. They're up 3-1 over Team Myers. Riku is 2-1, coached by Bob Ursel. Many of you will know that name. Played out of BC for many years and has been on the international coaching scene for a number of years as well. I think worked with the Korean program for a while. Team Yanagisawa from Karuizawa, Japan. Beautiful stadium they have, or beautiful curling rink they have in Karuizawa. That's where they hosted the Olympic curling in the 1998 Nagano Olympic Games, the first time that curling returned as a full Olympic medal sport. So that arena is still a curling club. And they've got the electronic scoreboard still there, so it's really fancy.
Yeah, the advantage of the electronic scoreboards is you don't have to explain to someone who's never seen curling, and we get that a lot down in Ohio. Of, what are all those things on the scoreboard? What does that mean? And yeah, the electronic one, if we had that, it'd be so much simpler to explain it.
Yeah, I've had a chance to live in Japan. I was on a work exchange about, we'll call it a decade ago. Lived in Japan for a couple of months, and it was in the early part of the curling season, October, November to the early part of December. So I did inquire about curling. I was based in Tokyo, and the Tokyo Curling Club actually curls in the Nagano area near Karuizawa. Not that arena specifically, but there's another curling club there. Can't remember the name, but I found out at that time that curling in Japan was actually very, very well developed in terms of a grassroots recreational sport. In a lot of the Asian countries like Korea and China, the sport of curling primarily is a high performance sport. Everyone who's playing it is trying to get to a certain level, win their province, make it to a national championship. There's not a lot of recreational curling going on, but in Japan there is a lot of recreational curling that goes on. Lots of leagues as well. It's tough for the Tokyo Curling Club curlers because they actually have to, travel 2 hours to the curling club. So, the team I was playing on, I found out, you go there on a bullet train, or if you have a car, you drive. I remember taking a bullet train, then taking a local train, and then somebody picked me up from the train station and took me to the curling club to spare. And you play multiple games each time you show up, because you don't go every week like we do in North America in a league game because of the distance that the curling club is from Tokyo. Obviously, that's, I think, a specific Tokyo scenario. I think other cities where the curling clubs might be much closer to where the residents are.
That's fascinating. That's dedication.
And also very interesting because not only do some of the clubs have the electronic scoreboards, but they also time the games. We were on a time clock. The other teams who weren't playing that draw were timing our games as well. So we had the time clock on us as well, just for a league game. Not sure if that was prevalent in all the Japanese curling clubs, but it was certainly a first for me in recreational curling to be on the clock.
Yeah, maybe they only had the ice rented for a certain number of hours.
Well, Team Ha does have a corner guard in play. They've got a rock in the 12-foot, mostly open. Although it is tricky for Team Carey to hit that stone. There is a red stone in the back of the 8 that it could jam onto. Team Carey sitting 1-2, both behind the tee line. So because they are behind the tee, Team Ha can use them. Maybe lay down a freeze. They're considering freezes on either side right now. You could also play the hit. Bide your time, wait for a double.
Yeah, a lot of interesting choices here. Really wide open ends, a lot of rocks scattered everywhere. There's not a lot of pressure on them, but again, they need to find a way to score 2 here. And yeah, like you said, there's a couple ways to do it.
Well, no time clocks in this tournament, so the Korean team, they can discuss for as long as they want which freeze they want to go with. I think both are good options. So
yeah, when you have no time clock, take full advantage of that.
We have seen this on our featured game early in the tournament. You can call a timeout, and if you have a coach, they are able to come out and give you some advice. I mentioned Bob Urso with the Japanese team that we were just talking about, Team Yanagisawa. I think Russ Howard might also be in the house, coaching Ashley Howard, his daughter. I think Pierre Charette is also here with the Seungyoun team. He's been working with that team for a few years now. Well, they've gone back and forth, back and forth. Now they're sweeping back and forth, trying to get this freeze down. It's going to end up short. It is a guard, and it covers the Carey stone. Now I think Carey's going to tuck one behind that.
And another factor for Team Seungyoun Ha is they just came off the ice before this game. They just played the previous draw. And yeah, they're young, but also that's a lot to do. By comparison, Team Carey, they played a game earlier this morning, so they've had a lot more time to rest. And yeah, you got to start to wonder, if you have 3 people sweeping a lot of different rocks, you're gonna sleep like a rock tonight.
Yeah, really good point, Matt. Back-to-back games for Team Ha. They were playing their countrymates Kim earlier in a pretty tight affair. Went to 8 ends. Team Kim pulled that one out. So they're at 3-0 atop the standings. They do try their best to have as few back-to-back games for teams as possible, but of course, based on the number of sheets you have, the number of teams in the event, it's not always possible. Really nice draw there from the Chelsea Carey team. I think this will necessitate the run back.
Absolutely. As in starting to get away from Team Ha. They need a good one here.
This one also over-curling on them. I would have wanted them to actually probably get off of that stone and roll it further away, because now it's partially blocking your out-turn draw, that counterclockwise draw into the button. It was over-curling quite early. Never really had a chance to make contact with the red stones at the back, so they just should have let it curl a little bit more so it's completely out of the way. It's also guarding the Carey stone, that's third shot right now, so
yeah, they're really struggling on line here, at least for those upweight shots. They have not helped them too much, and yeah, this end is starting to look ugly quickly with Team Ha. The perfect guard there.
yeah, not a lot of options, I think. It's running it back again. Just have a good look at the angles here, and hopefully they can throw a nicer stone. The last couple of runbacks this team has played, as we've mentioned, the line has been off. Really never had a chance on the last one. Team Carey 1-2 in the standings. She had a win over Brett Barber, then lost to Nancy Martin, who's won 3 in a row right now to be 3-1 in the standings. Then a very close extra end loss to Christy Watling that drops Team Carey to 1-2. That was a well-played game from both teams, I think, and it was very tight. Now they have moved some of those stones around in the rings. Carey's still sitting 3. Team Ha's left the center guard now. But it does give Team Ha a few options to get into the button area. The shot stone, Team Carey is just biting the back of the floor. There is a port. You can come down and hit that. You can also hit and roll in off of that second shot stone on the left side of the 8-foot, top of the 8. You can also raise that tight guard into the 4-foot. So not a bad result for Team Ha. Would have liked to spill the rocks a little bit more, but it gives them some more extra options.
Yeah, all those options you said are way better than running a red rock into 2 other red rocks. So well done by them to sort of improve the situation and give them a much simpler shot in the next turn.
For Team Carey, where do you want to land this stone? I think they're coming into the house behind that blue stone. What sort of depth do you want it? Maybe just top A? Maybe you don't have fully buried, but just half tucked behind that blue stone? Something that you can still promote up on your final stone?
That wouldn't be terrible. I mean, yeah, just a little piece undercover. I don't think you want it in too deep.
If you do that, you take away the hit and roll on the other red stone into the middle, right? You'll leave the back red through the port, but that leaves Ha's rock in the back of the house, so then you can make a promotion shot and sit shot stone again, or just draw in for shot stone. So I think that's what they're calling Jamie Sinclair's broom, is where they want it. So a piece buried, top of the 8 foot, they get it just nibbling the top of the 8. A piece buried.
Looks like what they did there. I think that's called and made.
Glad I'm on the same page as Team Carey.
I think if this was your Wednesday night league game, you would just try to bury it right under and get it as much in the forefoot as possible. It's just a different game here.
I think you maybe try just a straight draw here. The outturn side, counterclockwise side through the port. It's in the top of the 4.
Not a bad call, if nothing else, for the reason being this is probably also going to be your second shot, so you might as well try it on your first. Sort of struggling after the first end. She had a really good one. Sort of being a little off on the weight. You really want to get a good feel for this shot, so try to make it now, and you might have an opportunity to do that again and get your skip's juice.
Yeah, a lot of, like you mentioned, the Wednesday night recreational curlers might say, why aren't you hitting that red stone through that port right there where the sweeper is? But the problem is you're going to be behind the tee line if you roll towards the middle. And then Team Carey plops one in the top of the button, top of the 4, and there's no way to get the carry stone out. Try to get this top 4 as buried as you can. Team Carey might still be able to use that redstone they just threw to make a raised takeout. That's why Team Carey didn't want to bury that rock and just leave it mostly open so they can still use it.
She did right on it out of hand. Something
now taking a look. Still need it to come in a little bit. Now it's moving. Where will it stop? Just a touch too deep. Slides to the back of the 8, I think. Team Carey still shot stone. I think Chelsea will just follow this one in. Sit top of the button. Full 4 even. Got a really good chance to steal again.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, she's seen the path now. Now she can follow it down. She can even be a little bit heavy if she needs to be. Yeah, you didn't want to be deep there for sure. I noticed the sweepers on it right out of hand. Just one of them was. Unfortunately, that might have just made the difference.
Yeah, maybe a little misjudged by the sweepers. You do want this, if you're Chelsea Carey, to get to shot stone or second shot stone. It's hard to just be second shot stone. You're either going to be shot stone or third shot, probably. So you do want to be counting 1-2 after this, because if you don't, there is a angle raise, I think, on the blue stone into the Chelsea Carey shot stone for 2 if Team Ha wants to take it. It's an awkward angle. You have to go inside out to cross the face. It's that middle blue guard that I'm talking about. You can cross the face and angle it into that red one. So I think Team Carey, they need to be a little bit careful here and try to make sure they get it into shot stone or second shot stone. I think with the 4-1 deficit, Team Ha might decide to take that raise on if it is for 2. But this one is coming in there nicely. Will it stop above the tee line? It doesn't as well, but it is good enough to sit first and second. So you've got the force. A pretty simple shot now for Team Ha to get their 1, though. They're having a look to see if there's anything else.
I think they're looking to see if they can sort of come off the open stone and sort of bop the red one sideways without disturbing the blue in the back. I don't think it's there, and I also don't think you need to do this. But even if you don't get the red out, you're still making a shot for 1.
Yeah, it's probably not super risky to give this a go. You might be able to get 2 out of it. It's not easy. It's not easy for sure.
You want to make sure whatever you
bit,
choose.
Yeah, you have to hit it a bit low because you can't run it into the top part of that redstone. If you run it into the top part of the redstone, it's going to touch the blue probably. So you have to kind of hit the second redstone that you have to hit. You kind of have to hit it on the side or slightly on the back side of it.
That's right. And the most important thing, get your 1 point. Throw a shot where you're guaranteed to score. And if you happen to score 2, that's also good.
Final stone, 4th end. Seungyoun Ha of Korea trying a difficult shot for 2. This is call it a flat double. But through the port, they make contact, moves the red stone.
Get it?
I think they may have gotten it. We'll see when the score goes up. It's definitely 1, maybe 2. They're going to the 4th end break, or the 5th end break, I guess, with a narrower scoreline.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
For victims of domestic abuse, fleeing may mean leaving everything behind. There is hope. SaskTel provides brand new cell phones so that starting over is possible. Learn more at SaskTel.com/fresh start.
We are back in the 5th end of the Curling Stadium, Martensville International. As you can see on the scoreboard, Seungyoun Ha did make that flat double. It wasn't really a double. She didn't actually remove the second stone, just nudged it over far enough to count 2 points without disturbing her home blue stone at the back. Really nice shot. They had a really good look at the angles. Saw that it wasn't too high risk. If you hit it anywhere close to nose, you would have gotten your 1 anyway. So really nice call. Score now 4-3, Team Carey. Team Carey's got the hammer once again here in the 5th end. Matt, what do you think about the first half of that game?
Yeah, it's been back and forth. The shot making for Team Ha has been inconsistent. Seungyoun Ha definitely came through on her last shot. She also saved the first end for them a little bit as well. But there have been sort of mistakes, I think, sort of figuring out where that line is on especially the hit weights. But, you know, they definitely did like you said, a low-risk shot to try to score a couple, try to get this game back to within reach, which they did. And so now you've got another half. And you know, as for Team Carey, you know, they've been not under pressure that much. They have been executing their game plan. I think for the second half, you're going to have to force Chelsea to make some difficult shots. She just has not had the necessity to do that yet.
Quick look over at some of the other sheets. If you want to stream them, you can. You can put them on multiple devices, multiple windows. Christy Watling leading Brett Barber 6-1 halfway through. Team Barber with hammer in the 5th. Ashley Howard with the hammer in the 5th. She's up 3-2 over Lorraine Schneider. On the men's side, also a close match. Riku Yanagisawa of Japan 4, Dallin Myers 3. Team Myers, they've got the hammer in the 5th end. Matt, we talked a little bit about the new Pan-Continental Curling Championships earlier in the broadcast, but just to talk about it a little bit more, there will be an A division and a B division on both the men's and the women's side. The event being played in Calgary at the Winsport Arena. That's where they had the Bubble World Championships during the COVID pandemic, so it's a great facility, great sports complex there. That's where they did the ski jump in that same area for the Calgary Olympic Games in 1988. There are 8 teams in the A division, and then the rest of the teams are in the B division. There is an exception this year. On the women's side, there's actually 9 teams in the A division. That's because due to the COVID pandemic, there were some travel restrictions in certain countries, particularly Australia and New Zealand, that prevented those teams from actually even having the opportunity to exit the country. And so in order to not punish the teams from those areas, if they were in a position to qualify for the A division with the existing standings, they would be protected from dropping to the B division. In the inaugural Pan-Continental, because it is a merging of the 2 zones, the Americas zone and the Pacific Asia zone, that 8 teams was to be comprised of 5 teams from the Pacific Asia area and 3 teams from the Americas. So I think on the women's side, the 8 teams, they actually have the 9 teams because Australia got that protection. Korea, China, Japan, probably the big 3. Those are the big 3 countries in the Pacific Asia side. Canada, United States. Brazil will be the other Americas team. And then the other teams from the Pacific Asia zone are going to be Hong Kong. I alluded to Australia, and I believe it's Kazakhstan. And then the other countries, they'll be playing in the B division. Those will include New Zealand, Chinese Taipei, the Qatari team. Not sure if the Mexican team is going to be playing, but they would be also in the B division if they were. On the men's side, the big 3 from Asia as well will be in the A division: Korea, China, and Japan, and of course Canada and United States. Brazil will be the other Americas team as well on the men's side. And then from the Pacific Asia side, the other men's teams will be New Zealand, and Chinese Taipei. And how you qualify for the Worlds, you finish in the top 5 of this new Pan-Continental Championships. The European zone has 7 guaranteed spots. The PCCC gets 5 guaranteed spots into the Worlds, and there's 1 extra floater spot that will go to one of the either one zone or the other zone, and that depends on the results from the previous World Championships. So they take the average of the average points, World Championship ranking points for the teams, the top 5 teams from the PCCC zone, the top 5 from the European zone, add up those points, and the team with the higher ranking will get the extra spot. So in both the men's and women's side for this upcoming 2023 World Championship, the extra spot going to Europe. So they'll have 8 teams at the Worlds. The PCCC will qualify 5. Matt, I hope that made sense to you.
It'll probably make even more sense once I watch it and they designate the teams in advance. But like I said before, it's
very similar to the way that Europe has theirs, and so it'll be a little clearer if you are familiar with the European Championships. And if you're not familiar with the European Championships, then probably none of this makes sense to you. But the point is that there will be more curling, more international curling, and a lot of teams having some opportunities and some clear paths to get to World Championships.
I know for the women's side, Canada will be represented by the Canadian champions, Carey Anderson. I think Canadian champions Brad Gouju representing the men's side, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure if you know if it's the U.S. champions representing the U.S. at the PCCCs, Matt?
I don't think they've announced it. Now, if Wikipedia is to be believed, and usually they're pretty good at it, you are correct about the Canadian representatives, and also Seungyoun Ha is listed as the representative for Korea, and also on the ice on the men's side team, Yanagasawa is also going to represent Japan on the men's side. So there are some teams that have already been named, but there are still some glaring holes in terms of the Chinese teams have not been named, the American teams have not been named, but I'm sure they will be. They'll probably just pick one of their high-performance teams, and they'll go representing their country.
We're on to third stones now. It's Jamie Sinclair throwing the third stones at this event for Team Carey. They are staying shot stone right now, behind that off-center guard situation.
Yeah, everything to one side there. Nice and open.
I think they were trying to get that deeper, actually, to the back of the floor and sit 2 that way. Because I don't think they wanted to be there, because this leaves a double.
Yeah, you could definitely tell they wanted that 3 feet deeper.
There are a few reasons why the World Curling Federation decided to create this Pan-Continental Championship. One is because there wasn't a America's Championship in the past. There was something called the America's Challenge. Because of the number of nations that competed in curling in the Americas were so low, it didn't warrant having a full championship. And there was an opportunity for any other team from the Americas to challenge either Canada or the U.S. for one of the World Championship spots. They would challenge the lower-ranked team. Brazil has challenged the U.S. On a couple of occasions. They did challenge Canada once as well when the U.S. were hosting the Worlds. As the host, you got the automatic spot, so Canada became the challenged country. Mexico and Guyana have also participated in the America's Challenge on the men's side. Mexico has also competed on the women's side. And the other reason was you wanted to create another more high-profile championship. The European Championships is a big deal, And while the Pacific Asia Championships were a fairly big deal, they thought by adding 2 other superpowers in curling, Canada, US, they could really elevate that event to a premier event, bring in more sponsorship and television broadcasting as well. And also as a result, they were able to rationalize or reduce the number of competitions, right? They've gotten rid of the America's Challenge as a result, and they've also eliminated the World Qualification event, which was a second chance qualifier for the Worlds for the teams who didn't make it into the World Championships through these regional competitions. The next couple of ranked teams got a chance to go to the World Qualification event. So as the World Curling schedule becomes more and more congested, WCF decided to make some changes to not only maximize the viewership and the sponsorship dollars available for a new championship, and to reduce the number of competitions to make life a little bit easier on the schedule.
Yeah, I think that was a good call, because especially the teams that do have to go to those extra ones are teams that are not nearly as funded as the other ones. So you definitely want to give them their one chance to have a good quality competition where they are playing other nations at their level. So, like I said before, and alluded to earlier, I think this is a fantastic idea, and I'm really excited to watch it.
Looks like the Korean team has shot stone right now. Top of the button, Team Carey, second and third shot in the 4-foot.
Yeah, they did get that hit and roll earlier that they were looking for, and that really set up this entire end. Looks like the chance to come down and freeze to it didn't quite work out, so I think there's an opportunity here to possibly hit, and gotta be careful where you're putting your shooter on this one, but hit and stick. It's probably not. That probably leaves a double. Yeah, you don't want to be careful where the shooter goes.
Take a little roll to the inside. You get a half rock roll. I think that'd be pretty good. They're trying to help this rock over with the sweeping. There's the hit. It is right on the nose.
I feel like we've been saying this, Jason, a lot. Is that good?
Yeah, it's okay.
Or is it just late?
There is Russ Howard, I believe, in the background, watching his daughter, Ashley Howard, an Olympic champion at the age of 50. What other sport can you do it at? That's why we love curling. You can play it all your life.
So if I'm hearing this right, I have 11 more years to win a gold medal.
Well, Glenn might try to break Russ's record. Glenn Howard's still going strong.
In which case, I have even more time. Think they can get two blues out here?
Not sure if that second blue is going to spill enough.
They'll probably leave the 4-foot, if anything, but yeah, I don't know what else you do.
Yeah, I think you have to play some sort of hit and hope for the best result you can. You can spill the rocks on the 4-foot. That would be very good. This rock maybe a little bit on the high side. Doesn't spill the blue rocks on the 4-foot. You lose your own red stone, and now Team Ha sitting 3 in the rings.
Yeah, this is dangerous. This is you can definitely tell they are trying to figure out where exactly to put this one, because you could have Chelsea looking at 4 with no easy path to the button.
There is a wide in-off. a Jen Jones-esque type shot. Not easy. If you put this really good, that might actually be the only shot to get to the button area and score. I don't think they'll take that on, though. They'll probably just play some sort of shot to cut the damage down. It'd be different if it was the last end and they needed it for the win.
Here's your timeout.
It'd be a great time to have Russ Howard as your coach.
That'd be a wonderful rule if you can not only call your timeout, but you can choose who comes out. Well, I think if you can put this, my guess here is you can put this sort of side by side in the 8-foot, sort of eliminating a chance to get, I don't have a telestrator here, but I would basically put it just right of center, horizontal to the other blue in the 8-foot.
Kind of creating a square or a rectangle.
Yeah, or even a rhombus perhaps, but yeah, just a little bit away so that there's no easy hit, and then also just making that draw. If you're going to leave a draw, possibly, or you said that wide, that angle in, but I think that is the ideal spot. We're looking maybe a little bit higher than that, but somewhere there.
Yeah, if you put them even with the other blue stone that's in the top 8, what you want to make sure you do is make sure that Carey can't throw a pistol and squeeze her way through, right? If you leave just enough space, you can kind of jiggle your way in. So I think you want to create a smaller hole than that. So this shot's good too. It's going to make it very tough for Team Carey, but I like your call better. If you can put it and make a rhombus, I'm trusting you on the shapes because I'm not really sure what a rhombus is. Maybe a parallelogram? I'm struggling with my geometry here, but
I just wanted to say rhombus, but yeah, it's one of those four-sided shapes.
Well, it's the first time I've heard that term used, so we might have just made some history here, Matt, on this curling stadium broadcast, and we'll use that one again. But first, I'm going to look up what a rhombus really is.
This is out there. We're going to waiting for that late curl.
Want to get it finished and close up this port. Well, they've created that rhombus, perhaps.
I was rooting for it so much. It's
but they've left the port, and I think now Chelsea Carey can throw a shot through this port and actually score. In fact,
yeah, there's a big catcher there in the end. I think she just needs to hit this spot here. That rock needed to curl over about 3 inches, and that's exactly where I was picturing. So I appreciate Seungyoun Ha for trying to imagine where I was going to put that.
Yeah, so is this a trapezoid now, or?
Oh, wow, yeah. That might be, yeah.
If the viewers know, please let us know.
Maybe even a kite.
Well, Chelsea Carey has a chance to get out of this end. She was in huge trouble, and Seungyoun Ha, maybe they just overthought this a little bit in terms of the placement, but an opportunity to go through this top side of the rhombus trapezoid and get a single point. Team Carey, no mistake. makes it for the single point. A sigh of relief for Team Carey as she probably saw that rock slow down and leaving that court for her. It's 5-3 after 5 ends play.
Imagine a place with endless possibilities. Imagine a place where people come together to build families, businesses, and communities. Imagine a place where small-town values and progressive qualities are in perfect harmony. Imagine a place rich with so much vitality. Imagine your future in Martensville.
For victims of domestic abuse, fleeing may mean leaving everything behind. There is hope.
Welcome back to Curling Stadium, Martensville. Matt Sussman with me. I'm Jason Chang. If you're just joining us, 5-3 Team Carey. What an exciting finish to that last end. Team Carey facing 4. A little bit of a miscue from Team Ha. Let Carey off the hook because it looked like it could have been a pretty good opportunity to steal a couple at least if Team Ha had made the final stone in the perfect spot. But still a tight game heading to the 6th. Ha's down by 2, but they do have the last stone advantage. Going to pull up and put up the corner guard. They are sweeping this hard to get it past the hog line. They do.
A lot of positives in that last end for Team Ha. I mean, they did put the pressure on. Yeah, like I said, that one shot just needed to curl up a couple more inches, and they might have, like you said, they might have turned this game around and taken the lead themselves. So they just need to keep that feeling and come back and get a couple more.
Well, Team Carey with the 2-point lead, they put the first one in the rings. Now they're going to guard their own shot. Over curls a little bit. Team Ha can put up a second corner guard if they wish to. They're looking at playing a freeze. Freeze is a little bit more conservative of a call. If you're down by 2, playing an even end, it's not a bad call. If you're really desperate to score multiples, you might throw up that second corner guard.
Yeah, a lot of options here. So they're going to make a play at Carey Rock.
They're playing more of a tap or a takeout even, quietly. Try to roll this behind the corner guard. Curls up a little bit too much to go behind the corner.
Yeah, that was a good, mostly made shot that forces Chelsea to go back and make a roll of her.
Yeah, for Team Ha, a good situation. Fairly open in the house, so not a lot to contend with. You have your corner guard to work with, so just figuring out how to maneuver these stones and set yourself up. A couple of options here. You can go around the center. You can play a hit and roll. You can tap the red stone back. Go around the corner guard. All okay options, so looks like they've chosen bumper weight here. Make the takeout. Try to get a roll.
Yeah, again, keeping the end simple. I think there was a lot of very precise shots in the last one. It's always really good for, especially when you have back-to-back games. You want to try to keep it simple and then focus on just making those shots.
Got a bit of a roll, not quite all the way across, so Team Carey is going to try to do the same. Hit and roll behind their guard. Having a quick scan. Christy Watling now leading Brett Barber 7-1. Ashley Howard leading Lauren Schneider 5-2. Dallin Myers blanked the 5th. They're still trailing. Riku Yanagisawa 3-4. Playing the 6th then. Team Myers with the hammer. And of course, if you want to follow any of those other games, they are on live stream as well. Click on the link, the YouTube link from the Curling Zone main page, or just go to YouTube and search for Curling Zone. You'll find all the games there, and of course, keep our game on as well. This should be an exciting finish based on how this game has gone so far. And of course, to get your geometry lesson too. It's a 2-for-1 deal tonight here in Curling Stadium, Martensville.
If I see any more other interesting shapes, I'll let you know. Oh, this roll looks really nice.
Around the corner, and it's mostly buried. Maybe you can see a sliver. I'm guessing it's probably buried enough such that Chelsea might be tempted to just peel the guard and maybe take a crack at the top one, but make sure you err on the tight side. Hit the guard if you need to.
Yeah, especially since they haven't really played a lot of these shots. Not sure if Chelsea even knows really where to put the broom, but I think you're right. Just hit one of the two blues.
Yeah, I think they've motioned for board weight here. Jamie Sinclair, the first third stone of this end. It's already curling off the center line. We have seen a lot of movement off the center in the other games, especially if you help the rocks a little bit. Good sweeping there, gets it around the guard, makes the takeout.
One great shot followed by another.
And you can make the hit and roll again behind the corner, but Team Ha, looking at another option here, it's always easiest to bury a rock by just drawing there, and you can actually draw there now and be shot stone behind this off-center guard. Not trying the clockwise in-turn draw. Well, they've proven me wrong. It's not easier to bury a rock by just drawing it there. Just coming up light, must have underthrown it. Sweepers had it right out of her hand. Chelsea Carey now, really good opportunity to force in this end. Those off-center guards now staggered, so you can get one buried behind. I need this rock to stop in front of the tee line. It does not. Slips to the back of the 8, and well, maybe the advantage going back to Team Ha now. They're going to get a chance to play this draw again.
Yeah, you always love to have that second shot be very similar to the first. Well, it might go the other way now.
Yeah, maybe they're confused by the speed of that side. Maybe they got a split time that didn't make sense to them, so trying the other side. Normally you would just go with the same side. It's the same thrower, but they must have felt something uncomfortable on that in-turn side for this right-handed thrower, so now going the out-turn. I did see Chelsea Carey just do a little bit of a stretch on the backboards. Hopefully she isn't hurt or cramped up in anything like that. This one's also heavy. Jamie Sinclair out to sweep it. This is even heavier than Jamie's rock, all the way out the back. Well, an opportunity now for Chelsea Carey. Go around this same staggered guard situation. We want this one top 4, maybe top 8. Create a triangle.
Now, would that be a right triangle?
I think it might be isosceles, actually. If you go just fighting the top 4.
Isosceles. I was hoping you'd say that.
If your kids want to stay up for this geometry lesson, or just wake them up, they'll learn something tonight.
Well, this is for all ages. I think we all could stand to learn a little bit more math. It looks really nice.
Yeah, the stops just on the top side of the tee line, I think.
Oh, that's completely undercover. That's tee line. I think that's really nice.
It is pretty close to a right triangle.
I'm glad you said that. I was...
Get our protractors out.
We can now use the Pythagorean theorem to cue up this next shot.
You're bringing back some bad memories from high school math, Matt.
No. Well, this game's all about angles, so I figured, you know, geometry also has angles, and so this is really fun for everybody. Yeah, this is not an easy shot here. This is it's not their last. But yeah, there's not really a lot of great places you can go. Just I guess a freeze to possibly handle shot stone and give you an opportunity to score, maybe score 2.
Yeah, I think the guards are high enough such that you can probably tap it back a foot and be shot stone. Might be too late this time. The third sweeper coming out to sweep. They really need to try to get this at least frozen. Well, good sweeping, actually.
That's really good sweeping.
Didn't look like they had a chance to get it there, but they dragged it all the way.
It is a fast path. They did see that on one of the previous shots, so they did throw that to the tolerance, and they still have a good chance. I mean, this end they still want to score. However, the big end, the big steal is not there. The angle didn't look great, but I think they can still see enough of that where Chelsea has to address that and take that shot away.
Yeah, Team Carey still has shot stone right now. So Team Carey looking at guarding this situation. I think you might be able to still play the clockwise in-turn draw tap on that blue stone to just move it up a little bit. It does finish quite hard, so if you just have the right weight, back 4, back 8, it probably can be made on the in-turn side if you need to tap. I know it looks overburied, but that guard is only halfway, and it does finish really hard here. You've seen it all game. Of course, Team Carey guarding the more obvious tap, which is basically the same draw path that Team Ha just took. It'll be tough to get 2 out of this situation. I mean, there is the long angle run-in, but I don't think they'll take that on here in the 6th end.
No, it is the even ends. You do want your 1 point, and then you get your opportunity in the 8th. Is how you typically set this up. So I think the smart call is try to draw for 1, or like you said, try to push the blue up on the outside. Although
they're looking at it.
They are looking at it. What I've noticed about this team is they're deliberate. They look at everything. They don't want to rule everything out. I like that. So this team, being a young team, does not run much on instinct. They are running on sort of analysis, and it's a very good way to learn a lot about the things you can do. I think in the end, though, I think this is not the time for that shot.
I think the smart call is the draw. The only thing that they might have in the back of their minds is this team hasn't quite had the draw weight figured out in the last couple of ends. I know just made a nice freeze there. This is a slightly different path, so maybe they're a bit concerned because they haven't had the perfect draw weight the last few shots, and I think a couple times they may have been even confused at the speed. Well, they are lining up this long angle run-in. Is for 2 if you can make it perfect.
It is for 2. There's even a chance to score 1 if it's not made perfectly. I guess the thought here is that the shot for 1 is still extremely hard, and
you do need the button.
You need the button. Maybe the shot for 1 is almost as hard as this shot for 2. Maybe it's just these are really fun to throw, and you do have your shot. This is a legitimate opportunity to score 2. So as long as she's confident in throwing it, then in that case, that's the shot.
There we go. Final stone, 6th end. Tough angle, raise, takeout for 2. They're trying to sweep it for curl. They don't get it to curl enough. It is a steal of 1 for Team Carey. They're going to lead 6-3 after 6 ends of play. More action coming up. We're going to the 7th end stretch.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? You can get a grant to help. We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. It's easy. SaskTel has already given away tens of thousands of dollars. There have been lots of great ideas, including kids giving cookies to others, a group set up to welcome newcomers to their school, random acts of kindness, and so much more. The ideas and opportunities are endless. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? SaskTel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
Imagine a place with endless possibilities. Imagine a place where people come together to build families, businesses, and communities. Imagine a place where small-town values and progressive qualities are in perfect harmony. Imagine a place rich with so much vitality. Imagine your future in Martensville.
Welcome back to Martensville. Seventh end now. Team Carey stealing one in the sixth, up 6-3 over Team Ha from Korea. As mentioned, both teams at 1 and 2, so they want to get to that second win, keep their playoff hopes alive. Korean team, they've been sweeping a lot in this game. This one again dragging it over the hog line. Corner guard played. They probably have to play the double corners now, down by 3. We'll see what they do, though. Team Carey guarding the situation in the house. Could even go into the top of the rings. If you're just joining us, my name is Jason Chang. With me, Professor Sussman, bringing you the action from the ice to your device. If you're staying up late with us, especially if you're in the east coast of Canada or United States, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's a Saturday night. You're not doing anything else, so this is a great place to be.
The only place to be, watching us at Curling Stadium with multiple screens. Getting a math lesson. I'm learning a lot today.
You're learning that you don't want me back next time?
Well, next time, normally I make some notes before the game to set the matchup, know what's going on in the tournament, have the player bios, but I need to have some notes about geometry, trigonometry. Maybe next game, got to have some calculus here as well, just to prepare for that eventuality.
Maybe next time we start getting into the humanities, we could go anywhere here. Doesn't have to be math.
You mean I spent all that money for a college degree for nothing, eh?
That's right. There's always stuff you can learn.
Well, third rock being put into the rings for Team Carey. They don't want too many guards now with the 3-point lead. Team Ha made a nice draw around their corner guard. I thought they might play a second corner guard, but they decided to go in.
Yeah, I think Team Carey's content with them having the one on the side and sort of loading up the middle there. Got a little fortunate break with that third stone rubbing off and then sort of lining up. Fortunate to make a play on it now. maybe not double them. You don't want to double them. Those rocks will help you, but
Tapping them back.
Yeah, you can sort of realign them and let them be your friend.
This is our final match of the night, or the final draw of the night. We do have 4 more preliminary round draws tomorrow, Sunday, 9 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8:30 p.m. That's all Saskatchewan time. If you're working off the Eastern time zone, add 2 hours to that. If you're somewhere in another part of the world, Google is a good option. And then we have championship Monday, quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the championship finals. That's 9 a.m., 12:30, and 4 p.m. Saskatchewan time. And I think we're going to see some big crowds out tomorrow and Monday, all day Monday here in Canada. We saw some pretty big crowds behind the glass during the earlier evening draw, getting a little bit later now, so crowd thinning out, but a lot of fans still sticking around. If you're watching us on the online stream, thanks very much for tuning in. We love bringing you the action here at Curling Stadium, where you can watch every game, every sheet of this tournament. And of course, it's not the only Curling Stadium tournament. We were in Leduc, Alberta last week for the Alberta series. There'll be more events coming up.
Yeah, nothing quite beats, live curling. And especially, for the fans in Martensville, and just getting to see international curling as well. That is not something you get to see every day. It's certainly a different experience. And if you ever have the opportunity to go out, and people from different countries are able to communicate. They all, they may speak different languages, but in this case, they all know the language of curling, and it's really fun to watch.
Well, Team Carey, they've got 3 rocks stacked up in the middle of the rings. Team Haas still has that one buried behind the corner guard.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will be quite pleased if this ends up just being a 2-ender, and that's with all those reds there. Again, that might be a few too many for them to have, because that can certainly, you can jiggle those around. But they do need to make this. They need to make sure that this doesn't overcurl on them.
They do move the rocks a little bit. One goes out, but the other 2 Carey stones goes behind their top 12 rock, almost like a corner guard there. Shooter stays open. They could have considered letting that overcurl a bit more and rolling it completely around their own corner guard.
Yeah, it's kind of an in-between spot now. In fact, there's potentially a double there. I think they're just going to be, instead of trying to take that on, just get the one open one, and again, just make sure they don't score 3.
Good sweeping to hold the line. I think they were trying to stick right there, maybe even roll a little bit towards the middle, try to sit 3 again.
Yeah, not bad. I don't mind where it rolled for them. It's not. I mean, I don't think they were going to make a play on that blue underneath corner anyways. And then obviously the way that the other Reds are lined up is pretty favorable. Nonetheless, I think there's a lot of work to be done here for Team Ha.
We do have our first final. Christy Watling from Winnipeg, Manitoba beating Brett Barber from Saskatchewan 8-1. Christy Watling improving her record to 2-2, keeps her playoff hopes alive. Brett Barber drops to 0-3. And there was a steal of 2 by the Japanese team of Riku Yanagasawa. They are now leading Dallin Myers 6-3. Team Myers has hammer in the 7th. And Ashley Howard and Maureen Schneider. Team Schneider takes 2 and 6, steals 1 and 7. So they're entering the 8th end all tied up. Ashley Howard looking for her first win, 0-3 so far, with the hammer coming home.
Ha is calling for maybe a run back, possibly spilling the shooter into the rings if possible. I don't think you can get all 3. I think you could get 2 out of this.
Yeah, if you could get 2 and spill the 3rd one out of the 4-foot area. Or if you can even roll the shooter just onto the rings, I don't know, that might be possible.
Yeah, they were lining up earlier. Where would it roll? Could it roll into that ring? On the contact here.
Yeah, over curling once again. It is going to come across to the other red, bumps it out. Now they do have 2 in the rings. It is half buried.
That might have been one of the reasons they chose that shot, because they knew if it overcurled, it was going to go into a good spot. Can't get both, but you can get one of them a lot easier now, and that's what Chelsea's going to have Jamie do.
Yeah, if I were the skip, I'd certainly take credit for that good call. I mean, the team has been over-curling when they miss those hits, so... I think Carey does have to make a play here. Now the sweep to try to get the curl. I don't think they're going to get enough movements to get these rocks out. They jiggle them, but they don't go out, and now Team Ha can make the double and set 3.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate outcome. That is, they just played that, I think it was a previous end, but yeah, this is getting away from them for sure. Double here is not hard, but it can certainly keep this wide open. If there's just 3 blues out there, there's a really good chance that they're going to get multiples.
Yeah, you saw Chelsea Carey once again stretching out her maybe calf muscles, so I'm not sure if she pulled something or something has stiffened up on her. She did that last end as well. There's the double. That they'd leave a triple, though.
Well, it's a good question. I'm inclined to say no, but I have learned my lesson about doubting elite curlers making shots like this. I mean, I think that the shot stone is deeper in the house. You might be able to hit one and certainly, if nothing else, touch one of the others.
Yeah, it might just be there. I think you got to at least try a double of some sort here, and so it's not that far away from a triple. Exactly. I don't want to talk about triangles anymore, but if you've listened to some of the other commentators on the networks, they always say if you've got a right triangle, if you've got a 90-degree angle, which is basically a right triangle, you're very close to a double. In this case, the triangle is greater than 90 degrees, but the rocks are closer together. So when the rocks are close together, you can have a bit of a deviation from that 90 degrees and still make the double. If those rocks were further apart, then the shooter might not catch the other rock.
Yeah, that is an obtuse angle, if I were to say so myself.
I was trying to come up with the word and I couldn't, so thank you, Professor Sussman. I am your pupil tonight for sure. How do I sign up for your class?
All the math nerds are rising up in the chat. Are they trying to hit the... Yeah, they're trying to hit the one that's half buried. Yeah, I think this is here. Or is it?
Chelsea heading back down the other way. I think if you hit half a stone, you're close. But again, this angle is greater than 90 degrees, quite a bit bigger than 90 degrees. It's the closeness of the rocks, I think, that makes the triple possible. Now maybe looking at just playing a hit and roll to limit the damage.
I'm not gonna... I'll be honest with you. That's the one I saw first, is hitting shot stone and then rolling. You could roll, or you could, you know, graze the blue in the 8-foot. That's what the front end saw too.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd throw this triple and see if it actually is there. Now we'll never know. Not rolling the right way here. And this really benefits Team Ha because they can make a nose hit now and there'll be very difficult doubles and probably no triple available.
Yeah, this is looking like a 3 for sure. Just an open hit, stay right there. You can't roll at all. And Chelsea is... Even taking on the double is very risky too, because then you could give up 4. This has suddenly changed. And this is what we talked about in the 5th end. They did not put any pressure on Team Carey in that first half. They scored, and they made some nice shots, but they didn't do the stuff that they're doing in this end right now, which is make your simple shots and then force them to make the tough ones. That's a good shot right there.
Yep. Well, I think for Team Carey now, pretty much resigned to giving up 3. Need a mistake now, a hidden rollout from your opponents to hold the opponents to 2. Would you try to maybe roll a little bit to the left-hand side? Just change up where this hit is and maybe make the rollout a little bit closer on the board side. Roll it maybe even to the 12-foot.
It's not an awful idea for the reason being, if you just hit this nose, then you're giving a nose hit back and conceding the 3. If you roll out, sure, they've got an open draw, but it's a different type of shot. But even still, giving up 3, you're tied with hammer. That's, in any curling situation, a favorable option. So just make a shot that you're comfortable with.
Well, they make the hidden stick, so should be a fairly routine shot now for 3.
Yeah, really good situation because you can hit and you have a lot of real estate to roll to as well, either way. But
You've got either turn as well, so the team cleaning the path to make sure that it's not going to grab or pick on any debris. Really good practice for all curlers, recreational and at the highest level, to make sure you clean your paths.
looks like a nice little quiet wait, just enough to get it out of there. And this will definitely change the tone. This will certainly have been the best end they've played.
Here we go, final stone. 7th end, chance to tie this game up at 6 and go to 8. Team Ha from Korea looking for a quiet wait nose hit. Looks pretty good now. They're just cleaning it in. It is 3 points. Here we go. We're going to go to the 8th. Class will resume in a couple of minutes, and it's a tie game, 6-6.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Imagine a place with endless possibilities. Imagine a place where people come together to build families, businesses, and communities. Imagine a place where small-town values and progressive qualities are in perfect harmony. Imagine a place rich with so much vitality. Imagine your future in Martensville.
Welcome back to Curling Stadium, Martensville. We are in a nail-biter here, 6-6 tie going into the last end. You see a really high guard put up. I think they were going for the high guard, but maybe not so far off the center line for Team Ha of Korea, but they did get 3 in the 7th end to tie this game up. With that rock being off-center, Team Carey not even thinking about playing the tick shot.
No, it's a really odd spot. Just got it over. I mean, there's even a chance that you could tick the rock and then maybe even leave a better center guard. So it's always been sort of a challenge and a good challenge for teams to find out where to put these guards so that that infamous tick is not played nearly as often. But it looks like they're going to use it, try to maybe come underneath it, and then get their center-ish guard that way.
So they want this to be a guard, a tighter one, behind their first guard.
That's what they called it.
Maybe curled a little bit more than they wanted to, but the distance was exactly where they asked for it. Lots of separation between those two guards. Of course, both in this free guard zone, so you can't hit the guards yet.
I think for the benefit of all the viewers, we're just going to skip over the no-tick rule debate and we'll just move right on to the next shot.
I don't mind the tick, Matt. As long as an opponent doesn't make it against me, I'm good with the ticks being allowed.
You're tempting me to get into the debate. I am not biting. I refuse.
Well, that's the shot that Chelsea Carey was calling, that draw around this kind of corner guard situation. Call it off center. It's still guarding the 4-foot line, so make it sound a little bit better for them.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that now they're forced to make a play on it. This is their chance to try to get a rock in a good spot. I would assume after that appeal comes next, and then they try to open things up a little bit. But right now here, yeah, you've got to try to find a way to get a rock in a spot that is putting a little bit of pressure. I will say this about Team Ha. They have impressed me. When they've scored with some remarkable play. They had a great shot in the fourth. They had a nice steal in the first. That big three in the seventh. The other ends did not go so well, as you can see on the scoreboard. But a little inconsistent, but they've been impressive more than they've been unimpressive for sure. And they've certainly had a good impression on me.
They're trying to come around the guard, play a freeze or a freeze tap. It rubs that tighter guard and it spills into the top of the button. Team Carey now going to play the hit. Shooting it hard.
This is close.
They make it. They roll away. I don't think they really needed to stick around there. So rolling out, I think, is just fine.
Yeah, that's likely ideal. That was really close to dangerous, but yeah, that stone was a little too close to the 4-foot to start taking guards out. And at this point, they may just leave those there anyways because they've still got enough of the 4-foot to use for the win. A chance here at this sort of bump or a little freeze. See if they get the angle right here. Carving it in.
Pushes it back. Is mostly open, but they did move the Chelsea Carey stone back a little bit. Another final on the board. Ashley Howard takes 1 and 8. They defeat Lorraine Schneider 6-5.
Ignoring all the guards and just going right for what appears to be shot stone.
Pushes it through once again. Now a bit of a change in tactics here. As you make those nose hits, the Carey rocks are getting higher and higher in the rings, and if you just make a hit right now, you're not going to score with a rock in the top of the 8 in most likelihood. So they're thinking about drawing around the Carey stone that's in the top 12 and sit on the T-line-ish.
Yeah, I don't think you can go in through the center line.
Yeah, the high guard's in the way for sure, I think.
Super high guard is in the way. You go around the outside for sure. If you play that sort of soft weight hit, you'll still be shot, but like you said, it's really high up.
You can still push the redstone back. Try to create a bit better of a wall. The other redstone that's in the back of the rings is probably too far to be a good wall for yourself. So if you push the redstone back to the back 4, but I think they've elected to play this wide draw. I think it's pretty wide out there, and I'm not sure they really know the speed. Comes up well short of the rings. Well, now what do you do if you're Chelsea Carey?
So you got to. You're sitting 3. You don't need another one in. I think you do just try to peel something that is safe.
I'd be tempted to peel the one they just threw, actually, because that's actually creating a kind of a staggered guard situation. So if they actually get one around that, Team Ha, it'd be hard to remove because you can't easily promote the red into a rock that's on the T-line behind it because it is a bit covered by the other blue stone that's a guard. The other way to play it is just throw another one into the rings, maybe top of the rings, and create more congestion for Team Ha. Try to really choke it off and take care of business that way. But there's no easy way to throw another rock into the top of the 8 either, right? With that, talk about that very high guard is in the way of the draw.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking maybe that's the one you hit because you have no draw. You might want to get rid of that one. I mean, it's hurting both teams for sure. But yeah, I don't love going in. They're looking at maybe splitting off that red one, and that might open up some draw paths. In the language of curling, trying to interpret it just by where people are moving their brooms. But yeah, straight peel is probably the way to go here. You're doing really well. You're in a good position. You don't want to make it worse. You don't want to give them another rock to stick to in the house. I think that peel's the right decision here.
Yeah, and if you think about what Team Ha was trying to do, they were trying to go around that red stone, and if you left this guard here, they would go around again this time around, the blue and the red, right? So one way to think about it is just what the opponents will do. This rock will not roll completely out. It rolls towards the middle. I don't think that's good for Team Carey because they might have had a raise on that redstone that's in the house top 8 on the right-hand side, kind of an inside-out tap if they needed to. Now that shot is kind of taken away.
Yeah, I don't think that was the call at all. They still have the wide draw. And on their last shot, they were light, but they clearly had the line. So, boy, if they can get around that, then Chelsea's probably looking at running her own back in. But there's not a lot of space to do that. Yeah, this is it's getting uncomfortable for sure.
Yeah, same thrower as well here in Kim. So she should have a better feel of the speed, and the sweepers will have a better feel of the speed as well because they didn't really know on the last shot either because they didn't start sweeping it until quite late.
Yeah, good chance to get a second opportunity here. This is also really wide out there.
I think they've gone even wider than the first one, so...
Yeah, they're on the other sheet already.
Yeah, it just didn't take the same path. Actually, the speed was pretty darn good this time, but the line wasn't quite right.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that line. That don't know.
Well, now
why.
I think you have to play the tap. You've got too many rocks in the front to peel at this point, so I think you either tap that redstone or draw in yourself that same way that the Korean team was trying. Chelsea's also thinking about hitting and rolling in. I think the problem with the hit and roll is you might end up behind the T line.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get there. Like, it's splitting the T line.
Yeah, you will be behind the T line, but if you roll big, then there's no harm there. I think the main goal here is, again, leave yourself a shot. You hit the blue, you're still sitting 3, they go for the draw again. And they have to make it, too. And they haven't figured that line out quite yet. Roll outside here.
All the way out. Well, I think it's going to be the same shot again, right? Situation hasn't changed all that much for the Korean side, so...
Yeah, you're right. That is their get out of jail here. If they can sneak one around there, it's going to leave a tricky path to removing it. Cleaning the path again.
It's possible a little bit of frost might be creeping in as well. Don't know exactly what the conditions are like on the ice, but it is warm in Saskatchewan, I hear, and with some of the other sheets off the ice, you also might see the sheets tightening up a little bit and slowing down, so just keeping it clean, always a good idea. Well, first skip stone here in the 8th end, 6-6 tie. Seungyoun trying to play that same draw that they just tried for the last 2 stones. Keeper's not on this one yet, maybe a bit heavier than the last ones. Still not curling back in, so maybe she's also gotten this out a little bit too wide.
Yeah, that's a little bit deep. I don't think that shot stone either, so that's... I mean, it's not... I don't think it's a stone that you want to leave alone, but it's not helping them at the moment.
You could play a shot in the top 12, maybe just in the top 8. That blocks both the draw that Team Ha was trying and also the hit and roll off of their own stone. Team Ha could hit and roll in off their own back blue if they needed to. So if you just go edge to edge with that blue stone, that could take both largely away.
Almost make like a letter V, which is not a shape really, it's a letter, but you just, if you could certainly do that to take away every single shot, every likely way to get in for shots. That is certainly an option.
I'm gonna tell you, Professor Sussman, that I did pass grade 1, so I do know my letters and my ABCs. The tough thing about that edge-to-edge shot is you have to be precise, not only on the line, but on the distance. If you leave it too high, then it acts as a guard for Team Ha. So maybe it's the perfect shot if you can just go down and plunk it there, but it is not easy to execute. If you're a little bit deep and wide, then you give Team Ha an opportunity to hit and roll in and be really good. So
I think you'd be tempted to also just hit the blue one. I mean, this will be their 4th attempt at getting the draw, and Team Ha will have to find a way to get around. But they were close on the first, they were wide in the second, wide on the third, and they don't know that line in quite yet. You give them an opportunity, but
you're right. They haven't been particularly close on the 3 attempts, but you hate to give the team the same shot the 4th time. Looks like they've settled on the raise. This is really good, I think.
Oh, wow.
That's very good. Not just okay this time.
Yeah, that is sensational. That is completely buried. It is on the tee line. I don't think you can get around it with enough speed to push it back. Don't know what that leaves him at all.
Yet, as we discussed, the Team Ha Rock, the one they have in the rings, is not even second shot right now. So you can't just run something in and get that red stone out and be shot stone. The Team Carey Rock in the top of the 8-foot is second shot.
Looking at a number of guards that they can try to move in. We've got the sort of wider one that's closer to the house. I think they're looking to see if they can drive it back and make contact with the red. But like you said, if they spill everything, then the red at the 11 o'clock position is your scoring points. And then you have also your one just neighboring the hog line. That one is probably the better angle, but of course it's the furthest away possible. So,
well, this is a great angle right now, and based on this camera angle that I'm looking at, I think this angle in is probably there. You don't have as much room as you'd like because that other rock in the top 8-foot is taking away part of that path. But probably just there.
It might just be there, but you can't blast it either because it's going to sort of squirt out and go to the right.
Yeah, it's going to spin upward a little bit, so you have to be maybe a little bit quieter on your weight so it doesn't spill, the runner rock doesn't spill.
I think they've settled on this one. I mean, they're two really, really low percentage shots, but that one's a lot closer. And I think it's worth a go. Almost, I would say it's like hack weight, almost like just heavy hack weight. Not easy to call, not easy to throw.
Team Ha tie game 6-6 without Hammer. They need to make a very difficult angle run, stick the runner to have a chance at winning the game. This rock is already over curling. He'll over curl, drives it by. It will be handshakes. Great match, tight affair, back and forth, but Team Carey, they hang on for the win. They don't need to throw the last one. 7-6 win. Actually, it's an 8-6 win officially because they were sitting 2. Improves Team Carey's record to 2-2. Drops Team Ha down to 1-3. Matt, exciting game. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I was extremely entertained. I'm glad that they were able to, Team Ha was able to rebound from some mistakes, come back, score a big 3 in the 7th, and get some chaos going in the 8th to try to find a place to hide. And they did that, but unfortunately they couldn't sink that draw. And then obviously Chelsea shutting the door with a really nice promote. And that was quite an entertaining one. That's all you can ask for.
Well, congratulations to Team Carey and Jamie Sinclair as well on the ice back in Canada. Well, on behalf of Professor Sussman and the entire Curling Stadium University crew, I'm student number 90036. Joining us again tomorrow morning, continuing coverage of Curling Stadium Martensville, 9 a.m. Saskatchewan time. See you Sunday.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. You are what matters most. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be a part of your community. From the dance competitions, to the rodeos, to helping discover and embrace technology across the province, we're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Every year, SaskTel contributes nearly $3 million to approximately 1,000 nonprofits, charities, associations, and events in more than 200 communities across Saskatchewan. So keep dancing, keep laughing, keep discovering, and we'll be there to help, to lend a hand, and join in the fun. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will, because we are dedicated to our home. To apply for sponsorship, visit sasktel.com/sponsorships.